Everyone here is past this line. So how did the character on the opposite side treat those kids? He addresses them. She addresses all of them, and they're all past the line. NANI? Dynamite! Alright. This one kind of affected me for two reasons. One, because in the tier list of amusement parks, we have, Disney, we have Six Flags, we have like water parks, we have like short amusement parks, then we have like state fairs. But I didn't know that there was like an amusement park caliber for Sesame Street. And it's called Sesame Place, and they're apologizing. They're in the news right now because this character, who I can only assume is Elmo's racist uncle, we all got one in the family, man. That that one family member that they get a little bit too much to drink and they start saying, instead of them saying, "Oh, the person who takes care of the lawn, the Mexicans," the person, I'm gonna go see the seamstress. Oh, you mean the Asian people? He's just like, come on. There's no reason why those nouns should be turned into verbs. Come on, people. Okay. So Elmo's racist auntie, maybe uncle, I don't know, was caught on camera doing some really like horrendous stuff. And I'm all for this notion of like think of the kids do, but like when it involves kids, man, you gotta be careful, because kids are literally trained to be the complete opposites of human adults. Kids are trained and raised to be the better versions of us. So when you expose them to this type of behavior or these types of actions, it makes it hard for the kids to actually become better, because they can become jaded, and it's not their fault. It's the reality of the situation. Sesame Place Philadelphia has issued an apology, said employees will undergo more training following backlash of video showing an employee in a Sesame character costume seemingly ignoring two small black girls during a parade. The video shows two girls decked out in Cookie Monster and Abby, and that's a great point. These kids aren't just some casual fans. They are fans. And I'll give you guys a little brief history on Sesame Street, right? Sesame Street was brought up by a nonprofit organization, and I want to say the BBC, but I know it's not the BBC, but it's still actually a nonprofit thing. It's not nonprofit. It's funded by the government. Sorry. And it was the first social education related show ever produced, and it was mass produced during the time of segregation ending and happening heavily, while people were still getting accustomed to having kids school. There weren't really schools ready for black kids to go to. So where would black kids go to learn how to count, read, the basic essentials they would need to go into like these preschools or these grade schools or these kindergarten schools? It came from Sesame Street, and it never dawned on me what was the purpose of it, but because I was but it served a very valuable purpose. So a lot of black kids, a lot of black parents who grew up in that generation gravitate towards these characters because they were considered to be some, like Sesame Street was the first to do a lot of things on TV. Have like talk about gay people, talk about these rights, talk about that right, and it all happened on this seemingly come and play like shit like that, where you could learn the music and everything and still have this great experience. So Sesame Street has a wonderful history in the black community and the edutainment industry. So it's really painful to see this happen. But when I first posted this on my Instagram, a lot of people hit me up and said it's a one-off, it's an accident. But leave it to Kev Entertainment, that dude who always be with that one dude that always be with what's it called? Check this out. So he waves off somebody. I'm not sure who he waves. So this video in particular, one, I just want to like, there's this look of like disbelief or shock. Like, I want to point out two things that when I first sent this out, people sent back to me and said it looks like the character saw something. It looked like the character saw something. The character wasn't sure of something, or something was said to the character. When you're listening to it, there's nothing you really hear, but right after he high-fived the adult, the character points to someone else out of frame and waves them off. And then in that notion, they wave everyone else off and walk down. So I'm not sure if this is the best version of it, right? It wasn't clear to me, and I was willing to hear reason. I see Don saying, no, it was clear. I can hear the first one. You fool me once, shame on me. Okay, I'm gonna let this run. Empathy, right? That's the motto of 2022. Empathy. We're gonna empathize with this situation. But I saw this one, wasn't really sure either. I was like, this was a tough one. He's ignoring everybody, and he's being escorted by a person, a stage handler. So I'm like, So they're clearly trying to get out of the scene. Maybe they could be getting out of the scene more gracefully. That's, I think, a part of it. Like, even there was a great thing I saw once where there was like a character, I think it was Woody. So it was in like Disneyland or Disney World 1 or 2, but it was something where like Woody's boot got messed up. It got messed up to the point where he couldn't perform, he couldn't walk normally, and he kept saying, "I have to go, kids. There's a snake in my boot." And even though I saw this movie whenever it came out, that line registered with me. And the snake in my boot line made me realize, and made every kid realize, Woody needs help. Because that's the purpose of the line. That's the reference that you have from the movie. And it's just like, wow, that's such a great thing that character, that actor was able to think of on the fly as he was gracefully trying to leave. So that's where my mind goes. Like, if you're a performer, you can't be caught. The show goes on, right? The show goes on because these kids, for however long their fragility of this safe space is going to last, it's there. And if you take that from them, then what, right? Then you leave them with nothing. But then we saw these videos, right? This one is great. And this video makes me think like, okay, another thing. These yellow lines are clearly drawn out, right? Because every time I see these videos, and this is why perspective is so important. Like, if he steps past the line, they're supposed to ignore them, because if they don't, because I was looking up at their rules, if they don't acknowledge the safe space between them, that puts the people in danger and the character. So there has to be a safe space. But he reaches over and tags this kid, I don't know if it's because the kid walked towards him. I think that's another thing that's a big issue. A lot of the people that I see approaching these characters, these answers, they are walking towards them, which might be a safety hazard thing for them. But I know that these yellow lines are designed to keep people at bay, and if they cross the line, they're supposed to. And if you look at this video too, the handler is not far behind, in a vest, keeping them back. That's the purpose of them. So it's like one of these things like, damn, are the parents' inability to follow the rules giving these kids a bad time? Probably. But like, once again, is there a graceful way to do this? I was really confused about this, and I had to watch every last one of these videos, right? But I think, once again, And I'm looking at the kids in the background. No, you want to focus on the people in the front, but you got to look at the people in the background. Everyone here is past this line. So how did the character on the opposite side treat those kids? He addresses them. She addresses all of them, and they're all past the line. This one has been waving for at least 10 minutes in front of this kid. And it seems to be that same character, right? And that's the part that kind of that's like giving me vibes, right? It's the same motherfucking character, and the character does, and so I've given them excuses for everything, right? I've given them excuses for everything. Like, hey, look, maybe it's the line, maybe it's a safety thing, but you probably don't. But every time that character's rejected a patron, they've done that. They've done that. Almost indignating, like, you are not worthy of my time. And that's the part that makes me feel like there's something else behind it, right? There's something else behind it. And it's fucked up. Because these are kids. What the fuck they do? They paid admission. All of these kids have every piece of merchandise and all this shit strictly from them. I hope they're able to find these kids, give them some something in return for their struggles. It'd be nice, but I can't. It's hard.